Hello and welcome to RetroSlot, the podcast, episode 5. We had great discussion about which episode it was. We had no idea, actually. That's what happens when you take a week off.
That's right. Everything's out of disarray.
You guys are just having so much fun that the episodes are flying by, and you can't even tell which one is which. I get it.
Truth.
Yeah.
If we do have audio issues today, we apologize. The audio-only version of the podcast should be fine, though, because everybody's making their own recordings.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got a lot to talk about. MegaMagwitch, welcome to the show. Our first guest ever.
Woo! Woo! Let me tell you, it's an honor to be the first and hopefully the best. I think it's going to be all downhill for every guest from here on out. I don't want to say the show's peaked already on the 5th episode.
Well, I can assure you, you're the best episode we've ever had. You're the best.
It feels good. Yeah, it feels good to be the number one guest at some point, finally.
Number 1 out of 1 is still number 1.
We're also going to talk about Mega Man later in the episode. We're going to talk about the last 3 weeks of retro news because it's been 3 weeks since we've done a podcast. I definitely want to talk a little bit about new stuff because it does pertain to old stuff as well with the retro support or the old game support on the Xbox Series X, or more commonly known as the Xbox 4.
That's right. Yeah. That was the development name.
But how you guys been doing? How's everybody doing? Mega Man or MegMagwitch? Mega Man.
Let me live my dream of being Mega Man. I'm doing great. My wife and I just got off of a strict 2-week quarantine because we came into contact with someone who tested positive for corona. So I can go outside to a store again, which
that's
is
a panic.
Yeah, it was a little. I mean, we tested negative like right away, but we could not leave the house to do anything, which threw a little bit of a wrench in Halloween plans. But other than that,
yeah,
things are all good here because I got plenty of video games to keep me occupied while I'm locked in at home. How about you guys? How have you been, Mr. Sniperton?
Things are good. It's very similar, like with you with the little kiddo. It's wanting, they always want to go out and go on adventures and all those things. And you're like, no, we have to stay inside. And they're like, why? It's like, because the virus. And then my son's like, the virus is nice, remember? It's like, well, I'm not so sure you understand. What about you, Briar? Anything going on?
No, same thing. Everybody's on lockdown around here. You can go to stores, you can go to get takeout, but they pretty much locked down. Now that it's cold outside, you can't eat outside anymore. So it's pretty much, like you go to get takeout, you bring it home, and you stare at the empty looks in your family's eyes.
Because you forgot to bring them food too.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Can I tell you? So I go and get takeout all the time, right? Because there's only so many times you can cook, or that's how I feel anyway. I've got if it doesn't
Briar
have directions
says,
on the box.
I was gonna say Briar can only eat so many bowls of cereal before he starts going crazy.
So I go out and I always am getting takeout, and I prefer places that have an app so I can just type in my order or text in my order or something like that. I would guesstimate it's 75% of the time I get home, I open the bag, we start serving everybody, and something is missing, right? Something is missing, which then means I am now responsible to go get said item, which, causes me to get back in the car, go get said item, come back, everybody has finished eating, and I eat cold food. Right?
Well, there's a negotiation with yourself, right? It's like, do I really need to, is it that important?
Right.
It's like,
can I just throw that $5 item away, in my mind?
Yeah. Well, I cannot stand getting screwed, right? I cannot stand it. I will not abide.
Principle of it, yeah.
But also, somebody's didn't get what they wanted. Last night, everybody wanted burgers, so I just ran to Burger King, and I used their app. And they have this deal. It's $20 for a family's worth of food. It's unbelievably cheap. I don't really like Burger King, to be honest with you. I don't like fast food.
To the quality of the food.
Yeah. I don't really like I don't really like Burger King to begin with. But whatever. I bring it home, and there's 2 burgers missing, right, out of a sack for So I'm like, well, this isn't gonna feed everybody. So I said, fuck it, and I want to get a burrito.
Wait, Burger King sells burritos?
No, I went to like a burrito place.
Okay.
Now that would be the worst thing I could imagine ordering would be a burrito.
It's like getting, a hamburger at like a Chinese restaurant or something
Yeah.
like that. It's like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, that's a poor idea. Stick to their core competency because they can hardly get that right. Also, there goes our Burger King sponsorship. I really thought that Sneak King 2 deal was going to go through, but oh well.
Yeah.
I have all 3 of those games sitting right next to me. Xbox games. My mom used to work at Burger King then, and I was
Really?
I was convinced. I was like, Mom, I need these. These are gonna be huge someday. Like,
You can buy a
made her
case of like 20 of
I
those
know.
sealed in a box for like $50.
Really?
I know they're worthless. They're such garbage.
Does the
So-
Xbox Series X support HDR though? That's the question. Like, can you play
In those
Sneak King
games?
in 4K?
Never thought I'd need that in my life.
In the next Digital Foundry video.
So listen, I subscribe to the fast food rewards things like with Wendy's and Dairy Queen and McDonald's. Like, they have some good deals on there. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
But it's a weird proposition to think about. This food is already dirt cheap,
yeah,
and I need it to be cheaper.
right.
It's like,
Like, I kind of feel guilty about buying it for myself. When I bring home like 2 bags full for the whole family, I feel really guilty about it.
I can't order from Burger King because some of their stuff is so cheap that it makes me like uncomfortable. It's like 10 nuggets for $1.50. I don't know about those nuggets, man. A little scared.
What part of the
It'd be the
chicken are
same.
these from?
These are ground up beaks.
It's all
You guys are
beaks
serving
and
me
dicks.
beaks.
I bet Ash could create a great logo around that.
Yeah,
Beaks and dicks.
That's our next T-shirt.
Oh no. Which one's the bigger one?
I'm gonna choose ignorance in this topic. So, did you guys get the new Xbox, the Xbox 4, as it's been named by me?
I did not.
No. Are you planning on getting one? Did you choose not to get one, or did you, or
I will
was it just not
definitely
available?
I will definitely get both. I just did not take the initiative to pre-order anything like you were complaining about in the last episode, that you wish you could just buy something, but I can't
That'd be
even go
nice.
to a store and buy something if I want to. But yeah, I figured I'd hold off. I'll wait until a post-Christmas time, buy myself one after then. I will definitely get a PS5 and an Xbox 4 because I love consoles. I love having all of them anyway. Even if I never played one, I would still want to have it on my shelf because, much like you guys, I'm sure you can understand, you just want to have it. You want to have that hardware.
Dude, that cardboard's very shiny. What do you mean? Pointing at me.
No, I was pointing at the at the console. on the shelf.
Oh. Gotcha.
Well, that speaks to a guilty conscience right there, though, Jay.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, no, very much. My shelves are full of cardboard right now. It's fine.
How about you, Jay? Did you pick up the new Xbox?
I did. I have a bad case of FOMO. Like, I knew, before they were coming out, I was telling people, I was like, if you want to get one in the first probably 3 to 6 months, you need to pre-order it. Like, you need to, otherwise you're going to be SOL, just because that's how it always is. And originally I was like, no, I'm just going to wait till they're available again. And then, like, my own words started creeping in, and everybody's like, yeah, I pre-ordered one. I'm like, fuck. So then I did pre-order. I actually pre-ordered from Amazon, and then I got that email that said, like, you may not actually get one. Just
Yeah.
kidding. And then so I backed up from Newegg, and I actually got the Xbox 4 and the Xbox 3.5 Series
Okay.
S.
Yeah.
So I got both of them. The white one will be in the family room. That probably is going to be my son's first console, likely. And then the Series X will be in the office.
Is the Xbox 3.5 the cutest console that's ever been made?
It's great. Yeah.
Is there a cuter console? The GameCube was adorable.
Yeah,
the
it was.
GameCube is cute. It's got a little carrying handle. I mean, come on.
That's true. The carrying handle does add to the cuteness factor a little bit.
It's like you got a little lunchbox you can carry around with you. Like, it's great. I think that might be the winner, but I'd give the Series S the number 2 spot.
The
3.5.
The most interesting thing about the X is not the fact that there's no new games to play for it. That's not interesting at all. It's the fact that how well it handles. It's how well it handles old games. So you can plug in, like, the backward compatibility on that thing is absolutely insane. Not only does it play like a ton of old Xbox games, going back to the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, Xbox One, obviously, but it also automatically upgrades many of those games to HDR, or high definition, or not high definition, to what is that called?
Yeah, it's HDR.
HDR, but what is that? What are those words? What do those letters stand for?
High
dynamic range.
Yeah, there you go.
High dynamic range.
It's a color thing.
4K in many cases, and in some cases you even like get upgraded frame rates. So, like, the game has never been better than it is right now, which is kind of amazing. This is kind of unprecedented, right?
Sounds like the Xbox sponsorship still on the table.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I think that I agree. That is like that would have blown my mind and made me so happy if I was like a kid, and that was coming out, because like I remember when the PS2 could play PS1 games, I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So the thought of having a console that can not only play my games from like 3 generations back, but can make them better, like that is awesome.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you.
Funny thing about the PS2 playing the PS1 games, I bought one of those a couple of years ago. I bought one of those big fat PS2s.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, like, the disc drive comes out super slow. It's like you hit the button, it's like,
Oh yeah, I still have
You put
mine
the
from
disc
when I
in.
was 9, and every time I turn it on, she's got a little bit less life in her.
she's on her last leg. But so I bought it, because that specific one could run PS1 games. But when I was testing it, I was like, that's so weird that it's having issues. It was running PS2 games fine. So I did some research on it. And they're like, oh yeah, you need to put the PS1 game in, close it, turn the system upside down, and then turn it on. I was like,
of course, that's how you run PS1 games. You got to turn the system upside down.
I was like,
that's heritage.
Like, this is so bizarre, it just might work. So I literally did it, and it fucking worked. So anytime, like, I literally have gotten like bundles of PS1 games to either keep or sell. And when I go to test them, it's like, I have 20 PS1 games. I'm like, here we go. So I open it, put the disc in, close it, turn it off, flip it over.
Oh, you
turn it
can't
on,
just like leave
test
it flipped over
turn it
all
off.
the time?
Nope.
Oh, man.
No, because the disc thing's upside down. So literally every time I want to play PS1, I have to flip over.
Oh,
my
that's right, because
PS2.
it's got a tray that you have to like. Oh, that's right.
It's the most janky thing ever, but it works.
I want to know why that works. That's
I
very
don't know.
weird.
I don't know. It worked on the PS1 as well. That was one of the fixes for the PlayStation 1.
Was it really?
Yeah, when your PlayStation 1 started to wear out, put the disc in, flip it over, and a lot of the times that would make it work again. So it's funny that also worked on the PlayStation 2 for PS1 games. That's why I said it was heritage.
Yeah,
I thought you were joking. I
No.
had no idea that was a
Yeah,
thing.
that was a thing.
wow.
I-
It's
I-
because gravity helps lasers, travel faster so they
Science.
can read the disc. Yeah, it's
I
just
bet
basic
it is
science,
like
guys.
something where the laser just like the gravity puts the laser in the right position or something.
That's like the
Yeah, that happens with
90s
me sometimes too in bed. I need to be upside down.
I was
Dicks
gonna
and
say
beaks.
that's like the 90s video gamer equivalent of having to put like a penny on your record player so it presses down the needle. Like flip over the PS1 and it'll make the game not skip. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, so I did get to mess around with a couple of games on the Xbox Series X, like retro style. Panzer Dragon Orta is available on Game Pass. That was an original Xbox game, and that game actually looks stunning now. I mean, it's always been a good-looking game just because, like, the style of the game is, kind of dark backgrounds with bright lasers and dragons flying everywhere, right? That's just cool. But now with HDR, I got a new TV in my office as well as like a main monitor, and it's one of the OLED ones, so it's like high contrast. So it just looks outstanding. Like it really, I'm really impressed by that game, and it's free on Game Pass if you pay to subscribe to Game Pass. So that's a nice benefit. It's like there's a ton of old Xbox 360 games on there. There's a ton of old original Xbox games on there. So it's kind of, it's a new console, but it, really slots in well to the retro stuff if you're into it.
Nice. Imagine if an N64 would have played SNES and NES games.
Yeah. I fell into a YouTube rabbit hole not too long ago where all of a sudden I was watching a news broadcast from like the 90s when the Super Nintendo was released, and it was about how moms are mad that the Super Nintendo doesn't play NES games, right? And it was a whole like news story about just moms bitching it up.
I remember, two things I want to say in response to Jay's initial positing. Imagine trying to play like Mega Man with an N64 controller keypad. Sounds horrible.
Yeah, that does sound horrible.
And two, the mom's complaining thing, I remember there was like an old Nintendo lawsuit where they got sued for because they felt like they had been misled when the Super Nintendo came out, and Nintendo ended up like settling the lawsuit by like giving out $20 coupon vouchers for NES games.
Really?
To like all the people that class action sued them, which means Nintendo basically just gave them coupons to go buy the remaining stock of NES games so that they could fill the shelves up with SNES games, and everyone was like, yeah, cool, this sounds great.
That's karma right there. Nintendo getting sued warms my heart. They're the most litigious company.
Yeah, they are. But the fact that their lawyers basically just helped them sell more with the lawsuit is kind of a bummer for you and your...
Here's a crazy idea.
Can I ask you, Mega, what is your attraction to Mega Man? Like, why the hardcore attraction to Capcom and Mega Man?
Well, I mean, Mega Man 3 is just the first game I ever remember playing as a kid. And I mean, it slaps. It's awesome. So there's that. And I really wish I had a better answer for you than that. I had Mega Man 3 on the NES and Mega Man 2 on the Game Boy. And just both of those games, I think it's because I'm someone who really likes pure just gameplay, reflex-based gameplay, like over everything else. Like I don't really get into story in video games a lot of the time. I don't like when there's lots of cutscenes that drag things out, and I am not a fan of like grinding games. I like a game that I dictate my pace, so I really like that Mega Man has always been like, you can choose the level you want to go to, you can play it how you want every time and make it a different experience. And I think that connected with me, and I kept playing them, and then people kept buying me more Mega Man games and more Mega Man themed stuff, and now everything I own is just Mega Man themed. Apparently that's what Christmas is.
Is that where the name came from, MegaMagwitch?
The name actually has absolutely nothing to do with Mega Man at all. It's just the dumbest thing. In high school, I had a friend who named their Xbox gamertag Power Pip from the book Great Expectations, and another friend did Superstar Top in reaction to that, and then I just picked another character at random, Magwitch from that book, and put Mega in front of it, and that ended up just because... It works out well that it sounds like Mega Man, but it's a very weird coincidence at best that was the case, because that was really at a time when I probably wasn't playing a lot of like retro stuff when I made the gamer tag. I was too cool. I was playing my Halos. I wasn't messing around with NES games back then. I'd moved on to the harder FPS stuff.
The hardcore stuff.
Yeah, the hardcore. Which is weird. My PSN is Proto Scott after Proto Man, or it used to be, but then like Husky Raid got like popular, our videos, and then MegaMagwitch, that was on Xbox where I was MegaMagwitch, so I just had to convert everything to MegaMagwitch, even though I did have a Mega Man themed name, but that's not what got popular. I don't know, it's weird. Sorry.
So I'm really curious, and I think we've talked about this a little bit before privately, but tell us a little bit about how you got back into the retro gaming and collecting and all that stuff, because you've kind of told me about that before, and it's kind of a fun story.
it's like it was one random. It was spring break. I remember of my senior year of high school that one of my friends bought like one of those like retro N3s or whatever, that you could play old games on. And I went over to his house and they were playing Killer Instinct, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I still have my Super Nintendo games in the garage somewhere. And I grabbed those and we played like NBA Jam and Donkey Kong Country probably. And then we were like, well, there's the used game store in town that, has been there our entire lives, and we just never go there. And we went and ended up buying a couple games, and then literally every single day of my senior year spring break, we went back to that same used game store and bought more used NES and SNES games. And that was all we did, because I'm super cool. Everyone else is going to like Florida, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna hit up the used game store every day this week. We went, picked up a bunch of NES games. I obviously grabbed some Mega Man ones that I didn't have anymore, although even though I own like the GameCube Mega Man collection. And then from there it just kind of became like a habit to go once a week to that game store. And then eventually they went out of business, but when they went out of business, they were selling everything at like 70% off. So I went wild buying everything I could there. And then once I went to college, I kept just amassing more and more games from Craigslist, all the usual spots, and it just sort of took me over from there, collecting old games. Yeah.
What kind of collection do you have now? Like, do you focus it on certain consoles or?
I have the shell of a former collection, because I sold a bunch of stuff once the kid was born. I was like, I have all this stuff. We need a bigger place to live. I sold a bunch of it just for the down payment on our house, honestly. But I focus most on NES. That's what I had. I used to have like 300 something NES games before. Now I probably only have like 70 of them.
Only.
Yeah, I know, right?
I love it.
I love NES the most, but I'm also a big fan of anything that's like junky and forgotten about or crappy, like the Virtual Boy that I know Jay loves as well or collects for. Like I love garbage hardware that went away. I have the Vectrix next to me as well. Like I love the Vectrix. Anything that's just really unique appeals to me the most. Like weird one-off ideas that didn't gain any traction at all.
Vectrex is that one with the TV built in, right?
Yes, it is.
I've never seen one of those before, actually.
Let me just go ahead and
sorry, no, I meant in person. I've seen
I was gonna say,
I've seen video of it.
I'll
yeah,
just
but
grab it.
I've never like gone to a store and actually seen one in person.
All right,
Sorry.
I'll bring it with me to the next Guardian Con.
Oh, okay, of course. Yes.
Play it. It just takes like 10 minutes to warm up, and then we can play it. You have to plug it in, turn it on, leave it for a minute, turn it off, turn it back on, and eventually it kicks in.
Those have special monitors, right? Like vector-based monitors. So they're like, if they go bad, they're really hard to fix, right?
Yes, but they're also, it's weirdly a community that is like active still. Like there's still people who make homebrew Vectrix games, which I feel like has just got to be the weirdest hobby a person could have. Is they're making
that's a cry for help right there if I ever heard one.
What do you do in your free time? I make games for a vector-based console that
came out in
launched and failed in '83. Yeah,
isn't that kind of like the pot calling the kettle black there, Mr. Briar? Like really? He's like, that's a sad hobby.
I have been crying for help for 6 years and nobody's listened. Nobody's come. Jay, help me.
This is Turbo Graphics man over there. Jesus, calm down.
I just got called out and I deserved it.
Nobody's in this call because they are really stable with their hobbies, okay? So it's fine.
Totally don't have a problem. What do you mean? I wasn't totally just buying a whole bunch of games right before this call started. What do you mean? I literally, I said to them as the call started, just letting you know I'm on eBay as we speak.
Sorry, I bought my second PS5 while I was recording the Destiny podcast. Jeez, when was that? September they went up for pre-order?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
That's right. That sounds
So-
like when people were up in arms on Twitter. That sounds about right.
That seems like all year, frankly. Since I've
Yeah,
been on Twitter.
I just threw a dart at the calendar, honestly. Yeah, that seems like a good time.
We got some retro news to talk about, right?
We do. The Game & Watch, actually, crud. Hold on, I'm gonna go grab mine in a second. The Game & Watch was released on Friday and sold out
Surprise!
within a few days. Yeah, no, like it's like one of those things. It's just like Nintendo's coming out with a limited release console. It's only supposed to be sold through like March of next year.
Yeah.
And people are like, "What's this thing?" Literally, like on certain sites, they're like, "I don't know what I just bought, but I bought 2 of them."
Yeah.
It's like,
Says Nintendo, I'm gonna buy it.
sounds about right.
It's already been hacked too, right?
It was hacked, but it was like a hardware hack, so it's not one of those ones that you can that I'm gonna be able to do.
Yeah.
Is it like one of those Switch put a paper clip in the like certain spot type of hacks?
No, I
Or
think
that
somebody
one?
like broke it down and was like putting like capacitors or like they were. It was a pretty intense hack.
Okay.
I still imagine that there's gonna be a soft hack available at some point to
Yeah.
just
Somebody
like
will
flash
figure it
it.
out, right?
But it's only 8 megs of memory.
So
So,
that the entire NES library should fit on that thing.
I mean, yeah, NES games were typically only like what, a few hundred K or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, they're nothing.
So you can put a handful of games on that, which is pretty dope. But it's not like you're going to be putting like an N64 game on there or anything like that.
No, it probably doesn't have the hardware to run the more expensive stuff. Do you think?
The screen is pretty awesome though.
Is it a good screen?
I mean, I haven't opened mine yet. I have a couple of more on the way, and so I was going to open one of those. But yeah, I've been hearing good things about it.
Are you gonna hold on to them, or are you gonna put them up on eBay like right away?
Well, no. I'm not. I don't think I'm going to sell any of them. I think I was going to give one away, maybe through the RetroSlot podcast.
Oh.
and
I hope I win.
keep one
I mean,
at
it's
least.
I know,
It's
right?
a
I'm
50-50
entering
chance.
now.
It's either me or Mega, right?
And then yeah, if you guys couldn't get a hold of one, I would be willing to like sell it at cost or whatever to a friend. But I knew that they were gonna go quickly, and they're not selling for ridiculous amounts on eBay. I think I've seen them between $75 and $100, which is not insane.
They
When you
retail
think
for
about-
50.
Yeah, 50. So like if you're selling it for $75, that's $10 in fees right there, plus
Yeah.
whatever in shipping. You're not making much from it
Yeah.
unless you buy like 100 of them. So yeah, it's not crazy right now, but a couple of years from now, who knows? Because
Yeah, it will be, right? Because the thing looks so cool. Like it has
Yeah.
those like Famicom colors, like the gold and the red,
Oh yeah.
and
I'll
it
go grab it while
plays
you're talking.
arguably Nintendo's most famous game. It just is a cool device. Like I don't really want one, but I kind of want one anyway. Like I'm never gonna play
I'm
it.
exactly
I know
the
that.
same as- if I saw one for like like half off, I'd be like, yeah, I'll buy it because I could sell it for more later. But I'm with you. It's like, am I gonna play Mario Bros for the 10 millionth time in this form? Probably not.
No, like the only reason I'd want it is to sit on a shelf, and frankly, there's enough of that stuff around the house.
Oh, it is pretty.
Yeah.
Though. That
So-
is pretty.
It actually comes in like a plastic case too.
Oh,
Like
so
its
they know
own-
people are
it's-
just gonna collect this.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It came in its own, like, those like game box protectors. That's essentially what it is.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The question is like, with the success of this, because these sold out very quickly, and I'm sure they'll restock them soon. But are they going to make more?
Yeah, that's when I first saw them, that was my thought, was like, this seems like something they could milk a lot of money out of people like me from by releasing lots of different ones.
Like me,
At least they got to make a Zelda one. At least you got to figure.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do
Maybe
just
Mega Man
Mario.
series. Who knows?
I could never predict Nintendo on these things. Like every time I feel like, oh my god, this is a slam dunk.
Yeah,
Like
print
all they
money.
have
They're
to do
like,
is
"No."
yeah, and they just like stop making it. Like the mini NES system, the mini Super Nintendo system. Like why are those things not stocked on every shelf in America? They'd be selling, right?
Yeah.
But they're not.
Well, there's still speculation out there that they're going to make an N64 mini.
Yeah.
It's still being tossed around in circles.
Yeah.
Is that just you, like to yourself? Jay?
Just
You're
me.
yeah, it's just you wanna...
No, like when I'm looking up retro news and stuff, there's like people, like really talking about it and speculating that it'll be next year sometime. I would guess it would probably be pre-holiday if they did something like that, because that's kind of their MO.
Do you guys buy the mini systems to play on, or do you? I mean, Jay, you buy them, right?
I do, but it's not a great experience. I gotta say, 'cause
Yeah.
the input lag and stuff is
So
terrible.
you do use them then sometimes, or you have?
When I first bought them, yeah, we hooked them up and played them for a while, and it was kind of fun to have a few beverages and with friends and play some of those games. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
What about you, Meg?
I haven't purchased them. I think I'm not a good fit for this podcast because I'm not really a retro gamer. I'm a vintage purist gamer. So like when I'm gonna play NES games, it's like I'd rather just, if I'm gonna emulate it, I'll emulate it on a computer, or I would rather just use the actual cartridge and the console. You know, like I don't get into when they try to repackage me like 35 NES games when I could realistically download every NES game in 10 seconds and play them if I wanted to.
I kind of feel the same way.
It depends on how sleek the package is. Like that, the Game & Watch is pretty sleek. I'd like to have that on the shelf, but the mini NES, I can live without. I can suppress my FOMO on that.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. It's like they don't really hold much of appeal. Oddly, the Genesis one was the most appealing to me, but that's because you could order the 32X and the Sega CD like add-ons to make it the Tower of Power. And I just thought it'd be funny to have a mini Tower of Power. But yeah, I don't ever plan on playing it because I have an NES, I have a Super Nintendo, I have a Genesis, I have a TurboGrafx. You know, like I have them.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna play, and if I want to play ROMs, I have a Mister, and I can play on that. You know.
Oh yeah, he's talking about his Mister again.
I like talking about my Mister, man. I'm very proud of it.
I mean, to be honest, I'm in the same boat as y'all as well. The mini systems, they came out like 3 years ago, and these were kind of the start of them, like really recognizing the retro stuff is still hot. It was at the tail, like, because I started hardcore collecting in like 2013, and stuff just started skyrocketing. And I think the mini systems was Nintendo getting in on it with fresh stuff. So I was excited about the prospect of them, you know, reaching a new market and whatnot. So that's why I bought them. But I haven't really put a whole bunch of time into them as far as playing. I mean, the FPGA systems with analog and stuff is a way better experience and way less input lag. It's because I plugged in one of these mini systems into my plasma that's right here that I've had forever, and it was terrible. I was like, I can't. Like I tried playing Super Mario World, which is it's a kind of twitchy type game, and if there's any input lag, you're kind of screwed. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's it.
I think that they're great. Like the mini NES, the mini SNES or SNES, if we want to revisit that conversation. It is they're great for people like my sister, who is like she remembers fondly like 5 NES games that she wants to play, you know, but like she's not gonna go out and buy an NES and hunt down those cartridges
and then figure out how to hook it up to a modern TV.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're really great for people who just want to relive their past, you know, a little bit, but aren't trying to get super serious about it. They're not stuck in the past like some of the people in this call.
Right.
You know?
What do you mean?
I know. I actually would like to revisit the SNES SNES debate to say that I say SNES, but I think it's Pokemon Red. When you go up to the SNES in the room, he says, look, it's an SNES. Since he says an, the official American localization of it is SNES, because you wouldn't say and SNES. That doesn't make any sense. So I would just like to say SNES is probably the correct way to say it in the U.S., but I'm with Briar. SNES is shorter. Just say SNES.
It's easier to say.
Sounds like a venereal disease to me, but yeah, I caught the SNES.
Got
it burns when I play with my Mister.
I mean, isn't that what they call us, the retro collectors? You know? Yeah, I'm a SNES head. It's fine.
What else we got for news?
Let's Let's see here. Oh, there is actually with the Game & Watch, if you happen to own one, there are a few little secrets on it, and I don't want to spoil it, but there's little things that you can discover, so go look.
Spoil one.
Huh?
Give me one. Give me a little taste.
It was like if you hold A or B, you can be Luigi on ball instead of Mario. Like little things. They're not anything crazy.
Yeah. I like
So
that.
there's like 3 or 4 of those.
You want to know what it was that made me not buy that Game & Watch? The fact that when they announced it and advertised it, they advertised the clock. And I said the fact that they're advertising that it tells time, I was like, this thing is really
That's my selling point. I'm gonna put that on my bedside table. It's gonna be my new alarm clock.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure you can set an alarm on it.
I just think it's so funny to have like the Game & Watch. You can play Mario and it tells time. Like, oh, okay.
So I was, I mean, the reason they did it is because that's what the original ones were, and I watched some. I've been watching, like, I kind of took the last few weeks off with Destiny and everything, but the original Game & Watches, that was actually an advertising point, because it was around the time that digital watches came out, like the little calculator watches and stuff, and so this was their first attempt at like a handheld, and it was mainly to give people like a digital clock.
Yeah,
essentially.
I mean,
and then
for marketing, it makes sense back then because nobody has, like, mobile gaming isn't a thing, but everyone has watches, so it's like, it's a good way to get your foot in the door.
Exactly.
To be like, yeah, we're making watches, and also it plays a game.
Yeah. So I thought, I mean, it's paying homage to that, but yeah, it is weird nowadays. Like, I just
It's so goofy.
It's like, can I make a call on this? Does it have a camera? Where's the camera?
Oh, goodness.
For other news, probably the biggest one left is Polymega Delayed again. For those that are into that,
So
and
that was
I don't know how many
supposed
times.
to come out in the summer.
No, it was supposed to come out like November. This month.
I think it was supposed to. I think it was delayed before that. I think it was supposed to come out last summer.
Right. No, it's been delayed a few times, but
Yeah.
I mean, like the latest one before this was.
What's the new date on it?
They're speculating February of 2021,
Okay.
and what I read was it has something to do with Walmart, which I believe is their main kind of selling place.
Yeah, I think that's the
here.
only way to
And,
get it, right? It's through Walmart.
Yeah, and Walmart hasn't really been communicating with them, and apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but Walmart was the one who delayed it. Not.
That sucks. They delayed it right out of
Yeah.
the Christmas season, huh?
So yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt the.
But it's still being highly reviewed and touted though.
Yeah, people like it. Like, people have it. Like, they sent out a bunch of them to YouTubers and stuff. And I've watched streams of people using it, and it seems great. Like, people seem really excited about it. So, I don't know. Maybe they got to somehow extricate themselves from Walmart. That's probably not easy to do.
And for the layman, the Polymega is the one that it's like modular or whatever and can play like lots of different retro consoles, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's got a CD slot in it, so you can play like PlayStation, Sega Saturn,
Sega CD.
Sega CD. And then
If
there's
it-
also going to be modules, so you can play cartridge-based games as well.
Yeah. If it played more Nintendo stuff, I would pick it up. Like if it played GameCube, N64, I would definitely pick it up. But the fact that it doesn't have those, I'm just like, well, that would be the reason why I'd want it. I don't have Sega CD stuff yet. I don't have Saturn stuff yet.
Wow.
I don't have TurboGrafx stuff yet, so
Not playing Nights into Dreams. Come on.
I know what that is. I know.
It's a tough
no.
pickup. It's priced super high.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you got to buy all the modules, right? It's like the base unit will play the CD games, but to play any cartridge games, you got to buy a module for each one. So like the price gets up to like $700 or $800 super fast.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's running emulation, which you can already do on your PC. So
That's what's interesting about these sorts of products to me. It's that they seem like they would appeal most to a more lax enthusiast almost, because like a hardcore enthusiast would probably just want to own the original hardware for all these things, but that's such a steep price point for Like my sister's not gonna buy like a $500 setup to play Super Ghosts and Goblins or whatever. Like it just seems like it's.
And like at that price point, like you can pick up a Sega Saturn for less than $100. You can pick up a PlayStation for probably $40. Mm-hmm. You can pick up a Sega CD. That's probably going to cost you more. You're probably going to spend $100 on a Sega CD. Plus, you got to get a Genesis, which could be anywhere from like 40 to 50, right? Mm-hmm. And then you got to get all the cables. That's probably a couple hundred actually. And then you got to get a way to play it on a TV. So like if you got something, I don't know, like a Retro Tank. That's $100. I don't know. It's still cheaper, I think, just to buy the hardware.
I would think, or
like
at the
buy
very
the real
least,
stuff.
There are individual, cheaper options for the specific consoles you might want to play. I feel like you can probably find just already existing solo one-off products that would basically they're all emulating anyway.
Yeah.
So it feels like.
I think the main differentiator for the Polymega is the fact that it saves your games. So it creates a virtual game library based on what you own, so it's 100% legal.
That is very
that would
cool.
be that's the selling point for me. So you don't have
that's a good selling point. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But
having an easy way to back up all your games onto that and play them without having to have any physical wear and tear on them is
as a collector
cool.
It's important.
Yeah.
But yeah, until if they got GameCube and N60, if they got all the Nintendo support, I would buy it for sure. That would be an instant buy for me.
Have they mentioned anything about getting those?
I didn't see anything. They originally, I feel like the original Polymega advertisement that I saw a year or two ago, they mentioned that they were working on GameCube, and then it just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm remembering correctly or not, but that's why I was excited about it. I was like, the only thing they don't have is N64, I'm still waiting for, I'm going to be talking about this for years. I need some kind of modern way to play GameCube and N64.
Yeah.
You can't just grab yourself some GameCube component cables? Those are a dime a dozen.
I have S-video cables for both. They look fine. But to think about streaming it or creating any kind of digital content, trying to I don't want to deal with that. It's just a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Although I'm a well-documented not N64 enthusiast, but I can definitely understand the GameCube appeal.
Yeah. I mean, N64 and PS1 or PSX games, whatever you want to call it, they're pretty rough. We've talked about this before. How many polygons can you fit in there? I got 7. We got 7 polygons. It's everything's got blocky shoulders.
Look, boobs.
That's a triangle, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. The Polymega, I wish I had actually gotten in on the pre-order of that when it was significantly cheaper. But now, knowing what the price is going to be, I can't see myself getting it because, I already own a PlayStation, I already own a Saturn, I already own everything that thing's going to play, and I'm not dealing with emulation, so there's not going to be any lag. I'm playing with original controllers. I can play it on a CRT or I can play it on an HD TV. So it's it's a hard sell. Anytime it's cheaper to buy the original stuff, to me, it gets to be a real hard sell.
For sure.
I'm with you. I'm there.
So that's Polymega. For those that have pre-ordered, it is pretty rough because they've just been sitting for years at this point.
Yeah.
And there were some folks overseas, the overseas stores that were selling them canceled all the orders. So they're like, if you got canceled, contact us. It's just a big mess.
Speaking of which, I think it's been this is day 263 since I ordered my analog NT Mini Noir.
It's supposed to come this month still somehow.
Yes, it was supposed to come this summer.
They said November. We haven't heard any updates in a while, though.
I think on Twitter they mentioned that it will ship by the end of November. I was really I was joking, but I half expected it to show up on November 11th.
I'm expecting the 21st.
Yeah.
You should have
the Destiny raid.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be perfect timing.
I'm not doing the Destiny raid this time, so I'm not into the raid race. How are you making out on the raid prep?
Me? I'm doing good. Last night I hit for anybody who plays Destiny, but I hit 1227, 1223 base or something like that. I just have to hit 1230 by the end of the week, so I'm fine.
That's easy. Okay, what else we got?
Some speculation that maybe a remake of Soul Silver and Heart Gold for Pokemon is coming out at some point in the future. Nintendo on September 7th, we did not report on this before, but Nintendo re-upped on their trademark for those two games. So people are reading into that as potential for them to create new stuff. I mean, I see it. Considering they've already started the Let's Go Pikachu stuff, and they're kind of re-rolling back around. So
it's interesting that they would be back on those remakes when I feel like Pokemon fans probably would want Gen 4 remakes at this point, since they've done.
Which one's Gen 4?
Gen 4 is Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. Okay. Those were the ones that were on DS. So
well, they did Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby.
Yes, exactly.
So they haven't. So if they're doing it sequentially, Soul Silver Heart Gold would. Well, no, that's before.
No, yeah, exactly.
Well,
when did the original Soul Silver and Heart Gold come out? Were they 3DS?
Those were on the DS, but they came after. I think they came out when Black and White around that time. They were definitely after Diamond and Pearl.
2009. The original Gold and Silver came out in 1999, so really the remake should have been 2019. So they're late.
They're late. How could they? I'm not. I want to say I'm all for them remaking Soul Silver and Heart Gold, because those are my favorite Pokemon games, Gold and Silver. So I'm not a humongous Pokemon fan, but those ones are the ones I had on my Game Boy as a kid, and the only ones I've ever completed the Pokedex on is Pokemon Gold after playing it for a decade, and one day in high school just asking somebody if they could trade me the last Pokemon I needed.
I need it.
Yeah, I was. He had to completely start a new save file, and we had a bus trip for marching band, and on that bus trip he beat 6 gyms to get to the Pokemon that I needed, and I finally completed my Pokedex. It was a beautiful moment for me. And
what a good friend! Holy crap! Are you still friends with that kid?
I have not talked to him since we graduated college, but I'm not I have no animosity. We just kind of drifted apart. But, yeah.
I feel like those two games, Soul Silver and Heart Gold, are very often the most highly rated Pokemon games by enthusiasts. And it's also a couple of the more expensive games, especially of the kind of the more modern generation of collecting in games.
I think it's just Pokemon Gold and Silver the most dense with features, because you have Johto and Kanto region, and then Soul Silver and Heart Gold are the ones that have it so your Pokemon follows behind you always, your lead Pokemon. And I think that's a feature that a lot of people just because they feel they're more connected with their Pokemon or whatever when they play. I don't feel connected to digital code, of course, so not me. I don't have any connection to these things.
No. Just cardboard, plastic.
It's all about the cardboard.
Any other news for this week?
Just a couple of little small notes. Amazon started shipping out Nintendo-themed boxes, which apparently it's just through November or something, but you can get Mario-themed packages whether you buy video game stuff or not. I thought that was kind of fun.
Oh, just like the regular old Amazon box now has Mario stuff on it? Oh, really? Okay.
For this month.
Interesting.
And then Shigeru Miyamoto's birthday was yesterday.
Woo!
He turned 68.
Oh, man.
Happy birthday.
Went away from the big 6'9".
No.
Hey!
He's going to blow it up for that one, I'll tell you what.
Miyamoto's so wholesome that he's just going to turn 68 twice.
That's just the public persona, man. He's Nintendo on the outside, but he's Sega on the inside.
Oh, no. Nintendo, or what is it? Sega does what Nintendo don't.
You were talking about t-shirt ideas. I think if you had a shirt that said Nintendo on the outside, and then on the inside it was reversible and said...
Oh, the shirt?
Yes. I think that
Have you seen my dinosaur thing? And you're like, I see your belly. Thanks.
My wife, speaking of Miyamoto, we were watching that Netflix video game documentary that they had. I cannot remember for the life of me what it's called, but it brought up Miyamoto and making Donkey Kong and Mario or whatever, and she was like, is he dead? Didn't he die? And I was like, if Miyamoto died, I would be locked in my room drinking and crying for a month. You would know if he were dead, okay?
He's like the grandfather of Nintendo, really.
Careful, there's still a month and a half of 2020 left.
Jesus.
Don't tempt us.
Don't bring that shit on us, dude. Come on. I will say, so far, the end of 2020 is looking to have kind of a reprise end of movie kind of ending where it brings it all together. Where the entire movie is fucking drama, and then the end of it it just ties it all up in a nice little bow. So hopefully that continues.
Let's hope so. I haven't been paying attention. I've just been playing video games. Just head down. Yeah, I voted. Head down.
COVID stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So should we? What do you guys want to do next? I have a topic. We could do that. We could do the Mega Man discussion, or
my pickups.
Yeah, and Jay's got his pickups to go through. Mega, your choice. What do you want to do first?
My choice.
Yeah, as the guest, you get to choose.
I would think talking about the game.
All right, let's talk some Mega Man.
The route. Yeah.
Mega Man 1, the one that doesn't have the best box art of all time.
Found out some interesting things about the box art, actually. It was the American box art was made in about 6 hours.
It looks it.
You cannot convince me. The only way that took 6 hours to make is if the person in charge of it asked their toddler to draw it for them.
Three different toddlers, each with their own crayon.
This is honestly, it's like it's the Velveeta of box art.
Why are there palm trees? Why was Captain Commando such a big deal for Mega Man 1? Like, so weird.
I cannot fathom how anybody, even at the peak of cynicism with advertising video games, could say, yeah, that's good enough. Like, that's fine. Kids will buy it. They don't care. He's so lumpy and awkward looking. It has nothing to do with the game. It has gotta.
I can't imagine why it didn't sell well in the U.S.
Yeah, right.
I don't know a single person growing up my entire life who ever owned a copy of Mega Man 1 or played it. I'm gonna guess that box art is
everybody owned Mega Man 2. Everybody
my
owned
first
it.
Mega Man was 2.
Yeah,
everybody's.
Nobody owned Mega Man. It was obscure because, I mean, if back in the day, I don't know if you guys, well, you probably weren't alive. Back in the day, I'd go to the store and I'd just look at the boxes, and like the boxes, which one spoke to me was the one that I went home with that day, right? And there's no fucking way that box is gonna speak to me. Like,
if that box speaks to you, you need psychiatric.
Speak and spell. Buy me.
And
of every other game is saying "buy me," that box art is saying "kill me."
What was the date that game was released? Was it? Because I feel like it was pretty early.
87?
Really? Was that late?
I want to say Mega Man 3 came out.
87? Okay.
Boom! God, I still got it.
Like, I feel like that game was kind of pre when I started reading like magazines, like EGM or anything like that. So like reviews weren't helping me make my game purchasing decisions. Mega Man 2 was, everybody was talking about it. The schoolyard was a buzz. Everybody had to have Mega Man 2, but Mega Man 1, it was just like, who knew? Like, nobody's even renting this game. It's so bad. Like, it looks so stupid.
And I think that's pre-Nintendo Power as well, because I want to say Mega Man 3's poster is in the 18th Nintendo Power issue, so there's just no way that in 18 issues they had Mega Man 1 out yet. So that's just, without that to sell it, there's no way anybody was buying this game. And
Mega Man 3 was the first time you actually had a picture of Mega Man on the cover, too. Like Mega Man 1 had what Jay just showed us, which you can't get that out of your head. Mega Man 2 was just as weird. Like it wasn't as bad, but it was weird as well.
Mega Man 2 looks like somebody's dad cosplaying as Mega Man, but like
totally.
Like, why does he have a pistol? He's got like a Star Wars laser pistol.
Yeah.
The story for Mega Man 2's box art is that they commissioned the artist and like didn't show him any of the gameplay. They just like tried to tell him what to draw.
I can't. What was with the people in charge of these decisions in the 80s? Why?
I suddenly want a Mega Man poster, like a box art poster
of the first one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Can you give us a high-res scan of that, Jay, so we can
I'm
go
sure
ahead
it
and make up
exists.
posters?
Yeah, it was weird. The game itself too is like if you had played Mega Man 2 first, it was a little disappointing to come back to Mega Man 1. I guess Mega Man 1 was pretty popular in Japan, and that's why it earned a sequel, right?
Rockman.
Rockman. Sorry.
It was mildly popular, not a huge success. Mega Man 1. They only okayed a Mega Man 2 if the team that made Mega Man 1 worked on it in their free time. Like, they couldn't take time away from other actively ordered projects. They were like, you can make it, but you have 8 months to do it, and you have to get all these other things out that you're already scheduled to make. So Inafune talks about working like 20-hour days when they were making Mega Man 2.
Wow.
Because Mega Man 1 isn't a fantastic game. It's okay. For NES standards, it's pretty good. But like, I think they could tell that the core there had a lot that they could build on to make a better game.
Yeah, I mean, it had some of the ideas that kind of became mainstays of the series, right? So you could select which level you wanted to go to first. You could, when you defeated a boss, you would take their weapon, and then you could use it to fight other bosses. Mm-hmm. And it was hard as fuck, which they kind of ran with.
Well, and that it was also Mega Man 1 was pre-password.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
like,
really?
So if you die and decide not to continue, like you can continue at the beginning of the level, but if you die and decide not to continue, you're SOL. You're done.
Yeah. It's
Game
not,
starts over.
I think all the other ones after that have some sort of like level select password input where you can at least be like, I want to start with these 4 bosses beaten or whatever. But Mega Man 1 is much harder. I think it's not even just that it's harder, Mega Man 1, because mechanically it's not like really like there's anything that's that much more difficult. It's just like everything's a little more annoying and less fun at the same time. It's like even the boss gates aren't like a safe haven, like you get in every other game. Once you make it to the boss gate, it's just here's your little save area, and then you walk through the other gate, you're fighting the boss. In Mega Man 1, it's you make it to the boss gate, and then there's still enemies and obstacles to get past before you get to the other side to actually fight the boss. And if you die on the boss, you still have to fight these obstacles, meaning you still might not get to the boss with full health, meaning you might completely lose and have to start the whole level over again. It's just everything is like they didn't quite have the feedback loop as tuned in to make it enjoyable more so than frustrating, I guess is what I would say.
Right. And I just recently learned about the pause trick. Holy, I have a spider rappelling from the ceiling as we speak.
This is it. This is Jay's Spider-Man Miles Morales moment.
What the F, dude? I see.
Catch it. You get to make a wish for every leg you pull off.
Good Lord.
This is like, no, it's like the Hudson Soft Bee from Milon's Secret Castle. Catch it and you'll get something. I don't even know what you get in that game when you catch it.
So I've never done the pause trick on the boss, but apparently you can like pause while you're damaging and just like proc more. And for the Genesis version, the one that has like 3 different games on it, it's like one of the best ways to beat the final boss, I believe, because he's just so difficult.
Oh, do you mean this right here?
Yeah,
Mega Man The Wily
one.
Wars, my most coveted item in my collection.
Really? Is it? Why is it so coveted? Is it expensive or is it just special to you?
It is expensive, and it's only officially released in Europe and Japan. So you can get reproductions, but an actual copy of it is much more expensive and hard to find, and you can only play it.
Oh yeah, it is. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Is it a good version of the games? Is it like emulated well, or it's probably not emulated, right? It's rebuilt for the.
Yeah, it's rebuilt. It's more like Mario All Stars. It's worse than playing the NES ones, I would say, but it's worth it to me for the novelty of it. It's weird because if I recall correctly, normal Mega Man on NES, you can fire 3 bullets on screen. I think in the Wily Wars, you can only have 2 bullets on screen at a time, which really, hampers your ability if you miss a shot. And the music's a little bit worse, but it does have like special levels that are only in the Wily Wars. Unfortunately, the only way you can even play one of these copies is you have to use a Game Genie to bypass the region lockout chip in your Genesis. So if you don't have a Game Genie, don't buy this, but I'm assuming no one's going to buy Mega Man the Wily Wars without a Game Genie.
How much is it, Jay? You look shocked.
I'm looking at prices here, and cart only, it's reasonable. Like, you're looking at $30-ish for a cart. But
those might be reproductions.
Oh, they could be.
Yeah. I had to order.
You're right.
To
so just a cart, it looks like it might be more like 100 to 150.
That sounds right.
And then complete in box, we're looking at a range of 400 to 800.
It can be very pricey, and I got mine on eBay like 10 years ago from a guy that I just made he was asking 300. I made an offer of like 150 and he took it, and I said, well, all right then. I didn't really want to spend this, but I'm going to go ahead and jump on that deal.
Yeah, I'd never be afraid to make an offer. That's always my mantra.
That's what taught me that lesson. Yeah.
People need money sometimes, man. Sometimes they're just like, F it, I just need to get rid of this. I need the money now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been that guy too. I've been the person selling it where I'm just like, hey, I don't care that much. Like, let's just get rid of it. Yeah.
$10 says fine. You're fine.
Exactly. But yeah, it's a really cool. It's actually one of the funniest things in the game to me is they upgrade the sprite to look like Mega Man, more like Mega Man 7 looks. But in Proto Man and Mega Man 3, they don't update his sprite really to look like equally tall. He just looks like he's like half Mega Man size when you fight him. Like, they didn't properly think, oh, these two should be the same like they are in the NES game. They just made Mega Man's sprite updated, and his is super tiny, and he looks adorable in comparison. Really? Yeah. Either way, back to... Oh, you go on.
What is the correct order of levels in Mega Man 1?
I think the best way to go is to probably start Gutsman. He's got like the hardest level, or one of the hardest levels, I think, because at the beginning he has these little platforms that have breaks in the rails, and like it always felt janky to me. And are
those the ones that drop down too, like just kind of
it's like instantly. It's like as soon as they touch that pixel, you're dead. Like there's no hope. So you do Gutsman, Cutman, Elec Man. The reason I say to start with Gutsman is because there's like that one hidden item in the game, which is one of the reasons I think the game is not quite as polished as the others, is you need this hidden item. It's like you can shoot platforms out of your gun. I'm not sure what it's called. It's M is what its representation is in the start menu.
M for platform.
I think it's like I think it's like magnet something. I have no idea, but it shoots out a blue platform. But you need that, and you get that in Elec Man stage, and you can't get it unless you have Guts Man's weapon, because it's hidden behind like 3 big blocks. So Elec Man to Iceman to Fireman to Bomb Man. You'd think I would remember because I beat them earlier today, but I still every time cannot remember.
Well, I was gonna say, like, you can quote unquote select the levels, but really, like, if you try to go into one of those later levels too early, you're like, you literally can't do what you're supposed to do. So it's trial and error. It's like, okay, well, I need this to. It's like you almost have to work backwards in Mega Man.
Yeah.
Right. You trial and error a level, and you're like, well, I can't beat it with what I have right now. So then you have to go find the thing. And I mean, it's kind of, in a way, endearing how they've built in that like discovery type mechanic, but at the same time, as a player, it's got to be frustrating. Be like, oh, I made it to the end. Shit.
Yeah.
I can't jump that far, or whatever.
I think when you're a kid and you have unlimited time, it doesn't bother you as much.
True.
Yeah, that's true. when you're a kid, if you even make it to the end of a level, you're probably thrilled. You've been playing the same game for the last month, and every time you're about to beat it, your mom says dinner's ready, and you have to turn it off. So,
I think that cord trick.
That is the biggest flaw, though, in Mega Man 1 especially, is like, I cannot beat Iceman's level without using that M for platform gun. Like, I just can't do it. And I never have been able to my whole life, so it's like, sure, you can pick whatever order, but I'm never going to start with Iceman until I have that gun, you know? Mm-hmm. And it is what it is. Mega Man 1, I think, is the one that suffers the most from that need for certain items for me. I think 3 and beyond, especially, you can really do any order you want more. Mega Man 2, I'm assuming you're both pretty familiar with. I can't beat Heatman's level without the number 2 item, that like the rocket board, I don't know, where you stand on it and it flies you across. Yeah, I can't do the disappearing blocks in Heatman's level. I've never done it once. I never will, because why would I? I can just get item number 2. Why bother?
That's like the pattern recognition thing where they're like popping in and out of the wall, right?
Yes, the doop, doop blocks, as I think of them. Yeah. Mega Man 1 in every way, it has, like we said, has all the good core concepts, but it feels like everything's lacking in polish, or it's a little bit weird. Like, it's the only one on the NES where the item pickups don't look the same. It's the only one that has a high score counter for some reason, as if because they thought people still cared about score. That's probably my favorite thing about it, is it has a high score counter but no timer, and enemies respawn infinitely. So what would ever stop you
get the high score on the first guy by respawning him over and over again?
It almost feels like the game was built to be an arcade game a little bit, if you think about like how you don't have a password and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it was a period where they were still holding over some of those design philosophies, I guess. They hadn't quite cracked the home market, how to make games for it in the same way. It's also unique in that it's the only Mega Man game that I'm aware of where bosses have knockback animation when they get shot, or like they take damage that way. Like Cutman is who I always fight Cutman first, because that's the one that it starts you on, which is against my own advice, but I've played Mega Man so many times that I just use the Buster on like every boss anyway, so it really doesn't matter what order I go in. But when you shoot him, like he it's like, it's weird to play a game where the boss gets disrupted and falls backwards when you shoot them in a Mega Man game, to me. I don't know.
Maybe you're the antagonist and the bosses are the protagonist.
Whoa. I mean,
we were
it's
the
all
baddies
robots
all
fighting
along.
robots,
yeah, exactly.
man. Whoa, dude. Well, Cutman his design is one of the like first kind of design ideas they had for Mega Man that they didn't go with, which is that when he absorbed powers, his helmet was going to change to mimic the power that he had active, which is like Cutman has those scissors on his head, because like your helmet was going to do that, which is something that I think they brought back in Mega Man 11. They finally used that idea. I know too much about Mega Man.
Mega Man 11 is the most recent one?
Yeah, 11 is most recent. Yeah, that's came out, I don't know, like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years.
Yeah. I bought that, but I still haven't played it. I'm keeping
I own it too for Switch. It's pretty cheap.
Is it?
Yeah, you can get it for like under $20.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty good too. It's not, I'd say it's worth a play.
I just feel like modern audiences don't appreciate the frustration levels as much anymore. Like some people do, but like I just want to relax. I don't want to.
It's almost like you can't make something that's a medium amount of frustrating. You either have to make it like accessible to everyone, or really hard so that people who want something really hard will play it for the challenge. Like
Dark Souls and all that nonsense.
You need your like advertising to be like Cupheads, where people are like, it's so hard. Like you gotta try to beat it. Like, yeah.
I was miserable. It was great.
Yeah. Oh, but you were talking. I totally skipped over. You were talking about the pause trick.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I never did it. I just was like learning about the game a little bit more.
I don't know how you could beat it without that. I've never beaten it any other way. I can't beat Mega Man 1 without the pause trick.
On the Genesis one, or
Or no, on the NES one. I've never
Really?
beaten the Yellow Devil without using the pause trick on with Alec Man's weapon just to nuke him down instantly. I'm a coward, Jay. I also, as a kid, I talk about how Mega Man 3 is my first game. I cheated to beat Mega Man 3 every single time when I was a kid. On that one, you could hold the right D-pad button and jump into a hole and you wouldn't die, and if you took damage all your health would go away and the music would stop, but you could jump out of the hole and you were invincible, and I would just do that to beat the game every time as a kid. So
now I want to play some Mega Man 3.
Yeah, you should. We used to position the NES on top of the controller when I was a kid, so it would always hold down that button because it makes you jump like 10 times as high as well when you do that. I don't know why that's in the game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you were I mean, like, you still kind of like to glitch through games and stuff now too, right?
I mean, who doesn't like to do weird exploits and glitches in games? I guess you could say that.
On the Switch version of the Mega Man collection, there's a rewind button as well.
Yeah. That is... I may have made use of that earlier today because I knew I wanted to beat the levels and didn't want to waste time. That's what I was playing while my daughter watched Cocomelon next to me. I just went ahead and
Jay, I feel like I heard some disdain in your voice when you talked about that rewind button.
It's I don't know, like, as far as experiencing the game, I understand it, but in like a principle type of way, it's tough to think about. Like, you know, yeah, you can just rewind like 2 seconds and then try again. You know what I mean? Like over and over and over again. So you're not getting any of that experience frustration level of starting the level completely over again and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
I'm with you. For someone who's playing it for the like first time, for sure. Like, it's the same as playing like on the Xbox when they would release like ports of like Konami arcade games or whatever, like the X-Men one. It's like you have unlimited lives, unlimited quarters, so there's no stakes when you die. Like, it's not. It's fun
like playing poker with no money. There's no point to it, really.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't end up broke by the end of the night, what's the point, right?
Yeah,
I'm a huge agreement with the poker for money thing. Like, it's like, yeah, I went all in with 7-2 offs. It's like, you're not going to do that if you have $100 on the line. Sorry, it's not going to do it.
Yeah, the game fundamentally doesn't work.
I agree, and that's fine. Like, I mean, I used it obviously, so I can't talk, but I've also beaten Mega Man 1 on the actual NES enough times that I feel like I've experienced it.
You've earned your stripes.
How do you guys feel about save states?
I don't use them as a rule when I'm playing like something for the first time. Like, I won't break the rules of the original hardware if I can help it. Although I will say with Ninja Gaiden, I've beaten that on the NES, but only because I used the save state to practice fighting the last boss on
that game is exceptionally difficult.
It is, because every time you die to any form of the last boss, it puts you back like 3 levels. And I just, after that happening twice, I was like, no, I'm going to get up to the same point on an emulator right now. And I'm going to practice fighting this thing just because I can't deal with it anymore. So you can strike my Ninja Gaiden victory off the record. I broke the rules.
I think it's fine. I don't really care what other people do because let them experience the game. But for me personally, I generally, like when I did Sonic a couple of weeks ago, like the main reason I wanted infinite lives was because if you died on the third world, you literally start at 1-1. Like, there's no continue at the same. So I was like, man, I just want to play it. So I did infinite lives, but it still sets you back at the beginning of the level or whatever the checkpoint was at that point. So you're still like doing it, but you're not starting at the completely beginning of the game.
Yeah.
So
I think there's, to me, a game, the satisfaction of beating a really hard game only comes from having some level of frustration when trying to beat it.
Right.
I find, like, some people will say that you should never feel frustrated when playing a game. I think you should never feel like bored when playing a game, but I don't mind getting angry at a game so that I can feel more relief when I finally best it.
Yeah,
so,
you can't have that high of like finally getting there if you didn't have the low of like the frustration and the defeat.
Yeah,
It's like a metaphor for life there, Briar.
Yeah, it is though, right?
Utopia doesn't work.
Yeah, so I think that, like you did with it's about setting up the level of frustration that's acceptable for you. So the infinite lives there's still a cost to dying, whereas if I were playing a really hard game that didn't have continues, I would probably use a save state like at the beginning of a level if I was tired of like going all the way back to the beginning of the game, like just managing the level of frustration to offset it not being too much. I guess that's okay. It's not
I got really into Neo Geo games this year when I first got my Mister. Like I'd really not played any Neo Geo games my entire life. So I started playing like all the Metal Slug games, and I was burning through Metal Slug 1 because I was playing the arcade version. At any time I could just press the start button to get another quarter, and and I was like, wait a minute, I got to stop doing this. Mm-hmm. And I decided that if I'm going to play these games, I either have to limit myself to like 3 quarters or play the home console version, which already addresses those problems, because I was finding myself, I was enjoying the fact that I was seeing all these like gorgeous graphics. Like the Metal Slug games are just gorgeous.
Those games are awesome looking.
But I was like, there was no challenge, there was no technique. I wasn't learning how to play the game at all. I was just running forward and shooting. And like, I was like, there was like, I didn't understand anything about the game because I was just start to get new guys all the time. So like the game part of the game was completely foreign to me because of the cheating, quote unquote, But save states are a little different. Like save states, like when you use it for Ninja Gaiden, like that's just using modern conveniences to get over poor game design, in my opinion. I love Ninja Gaiden to death, but good lord, that last level is just a nightmare.
There is, I could probably spend a year complaining about the last level of Ninja Gaiden.
I would be right there with you. I'd be taking notes.
Yeah.
I feel like we could still send mail to Konami about that last level.
I have a beef.
Yeah.
You want to grind my gears?
I know it's been 35 years, guys. but how come if I die in a room, it starts me off at the beginning of that room. But if I die against the boss right after that room, it sets me back like 18 rooms? Why? What is this? It doesn't make sense.
I keep hoping
I have lives still.
I keep hoping Konami has made the Castlevania collection on the Switch, and they've made the Contra collection on Switch. And I'd love to see something like a Ninja Gaiden collection. That'd be so fun. It's only 3 games.
Ninja Gaiden?
There's the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah, that's not very good though, right?
Well, no, it is, but it's $150.
Is it?
For the cart. Or like it's $150 to $200 for the cart, yeah.
Well, I just downloaded the ROM.
Is it?
It's literally called Ninja Gaiden Trilogy.
Is it Ninja? Did Konami make it? Because I thought Tecmo.
Tecmo made it. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Tecmo made it.
Cool. I can never tell, especially with NES games. There's so many that are like Konami and Ultra are really the same company using different names to get around the fact that they can only release like 5 games a year or whatever. So I never know who actually made it.
Actually, does Tecmo even exist anymore? I can't remember the last time I saw a Tecmo game. Yeah, they do, because they're still making Dead or Alive, right? Aren't they the company that makes Dead or Alive games?
Maybe.
Anyhow.
Koei, Koei Tecmo Games.
So they're still around, kind of.
I think it's like a dual company.
One of those mergers like Squaresoft type deals.
All right, so I got a challenge for you guys. The game is called... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to... With Mega Man, I thought a fun note was the fact that it was based on Astro Boy, or like heavily inspired by Astro Boy.
That's true.
I didn't know that originally.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I did know that, but I'm a giant
you chose to keep it away from us? You just didn't feel like we had earned that piece of information, that little nugget? That was just for you?
I'm sorry. I mean, if you want me to really dive into the nerdiness of this franchise, I can. Did you know that Mega Man sprite is actually 2 sprites?
Isn't that true with a lot of NES games? Like the top half and the bottom half?
They do his face and his body are 2 different sprites so that you can change the armor color when he switches.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty neat little technical detail. But yeah, it is based on Astro Boy, I guess, and Dr. Wily is based on Albert Einstein.
Can you tell me the story about Dr. Wright?
Dr. Wright or Dr. Light, depending on which game you're playing. He's based on Santa Claus. I know that much.
Really?
Yeah, he is.
He's got a big bushy beard. But like the box art, the original first print box art said Dr. Wright on the back, but then the second print, the one that I has says Dr. Wily.
Says Dr. Wily. Yeah, so Dr. Light is the actual name of the character that made Mega Man. Dr. Wily is his partner. I'm guessing just a lot of bad localization on that first print of the box and that classic RL switch that happens because like Japanese has like they don't have R and L, they have like that one symbol or whatever that makes like the ru sound. I don't know how to do it.
WR, yeah.
That's why you get like Ruigi or whatever. Like we have Luigi, but that's the same with Mega Man 2. One of the Robot Master's names is Clashman or Crashman, depending on like which version of the game you're playing, just because of that kind of mishap. I don't know why they would have put Dr. Light as the bad guy on the first box, but the Mega Man 2 box art, it looks like he's the bad guy too. If you look at the box art, he's like hiding behind like Crashman. Like he looks like he's giving orders or something. It's a really weird decision. And then Mega Man 3 spells Dr. Wily's name wrong in the game. It spells it with an E that isn't part of his name normally. There's a lot of bad localization in the Mega Man franchise.
Hey, there's a lot of bad localization on the NES in general.
That's very true.
Not their first priority.
No. Again, these dumb kids, they'll buy anything. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah, make it a fat 40-year-old dude with a handgun on the cover. These idiot kids, they'll buy it.
It's like the Spider-Man, what was the name of the Peter Parker in the newest Spider-Man that comes from the other dimension or whatever?
Oh, Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter
Where he's
B.
like,
Parker?
it's like in a coffee shop, like with the beer gut. He's like, it's like, that's Mega Man. This universe.
I love that movie. It's so good.
Yeah. It is great. Was your Mega Man game freaking out back there, bro?
Nah, I think I hit a button on the remote control. All of a sudden, TV started playing. All right. I'm going to switch the subject to the game. I got a game to play. I'm going to call it RetroSlot Decides. We have to agree on the outcome of the question. What is the most Capcom-ass Capcom game on the NES? Not necessarily the best Capcom game, just the one that epitomizes Capcom on the NES the best. I'm going to read off the games real quick because there's a lot of them, actually. There's, 37 games?
35 American Capcom games.
All right, so I'm going to go alphabetically. 1942, 1943, The Battle of Midway, Adventures in the Magic Kingdom, Bionic Commando, Capcom's Gold Medal Challenge, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers 2, Codename Viper, Commando, Darkwing Duck, Destiny of an Empire, DuckTales, DuckTales 2, G.I. Joe, The Atlantis Factor, Gargoyles Quest 2, Ghosts and Goblins, Gunsmoke, Higamero, that's a Japanese game.
Yep.
Legendary Wings, Little Nemo the
Can you
Dream
go back?
Master.
Can you please pronounce that one that you
Mega Man 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Mickey Mousecapade, Mighty Final Fight, Section Z, Sun, Street Fighter 2010, The Final Fight, Strider for the NES, Tailspin, The Little Mermaid, Trojan, Willow, and Yo Noid.
You missed a few, actually.
I did. Which ones?
Snow Brothers.
Snow Bros, yeah.
There was an Olympic one, but I mean, they're not important, really.
Well, 92 Olympic Challenge is actually my answer, so sorry. Gold medal. I'm actually prepared with great reasoning for the the answer to this question.
All right.
I'm ready. Okay?
Hit us with it.
What are the two things you think of immediately when you think of Capcom on NES or Mega Man, obviously, and Disney tie-in, specifically DuckTales? So the answer of the most Capcom game is obviously Darkwing Duck, because it's basically Mega Man and DuckTales together had a baby. It's a Disney tie-in game, and it's a shooter side-scroller game that plays kind of like a crappy Mega Man, and like a lot of Capcom games, it's slightly crappy. So I think it really fits in. I think that's my answer.
That is a very strong answer.
Yeah, thank you. I put some thought into it. I prepared. I did my homework. I'm open. I'm open to other answers.
Was 1942 the first one they put on console? Do we know?
I don't know. Probably, right?
I can only really say it probably came out before 1943. That's really all I got.
Seems logical. I really thought that Strider could be in the running here because of its Capcom on the NES. They had some great hits, but they also had some real jankiness to it, right? And Strider, man, it gets that jank in a really strong way. It's also a licensed tie-in, which they did a lot of, obviously with the Disney stuff and with the G.I. Joe stuff. I don't know. Strider was a real strong pick for me. But, man, Darkwing Duck nails it.
I think Strider's a good answer, too, though, because that's an arcade port, right? And I feel like...
it's like arcade port.
Yeah, it's inspired by the arcade game.
The arcade game and the NES game were like developed independently, and a manga was also developed at the same time, and it was like supposed to be this deal where all three of these things happened at the same time. So it wasn't inspired by the arcade game. It was supposed to be like in addition to the arcade game.
I was gonna say because like kind of arcade ports or whatever is like something I think of Capcom a lot too. Because Bionic Commando is another one that's like not the same as its arcade game, but has an arcade equivalent kind of.
Mighty Final Fight 2 is a good one because they somehow managed to make Final Fight on the NES, and they actually fucking nailed it. Like that game is, I don't know many people who have played that game, but if you ever get a chance to, it's fucking good. Like it's really fun.
Jay
but I think it's almost too good to be the most Capcom-ass Capcom game.
I agree. But Jay, I think you'll appreciate Mighty Final Fight. I got that for like $20 on eBay once because somebody uploaded it without picture. They just didn't know what they had. They just uploaded Mighty Final Fight.
I've gotten good stuff.
And I just clicked the buy it now, and it was pristine, perfect condition.
And it's authentic?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's on my list, but yeah, that's an expensive one for sure.
Yeah.
How much does that go for?
It's multiple hundreds, I think.
Oh, well, I just downloaded the ROM.
Yeah, it looks like it's over $200. Complete in box, which is what I try to get, is like $600 to $700.
When I bought it, it was only going for like 80 even. I didn't even get it for like a crazy deal, so that's.
So you must have gotten it like what, 6 years ago ish?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
So the game for me, and I wouldn't say that it's the most Capcom, but it's the game that I played the most as a kid, and nobody's talked about it yet, was Little Nemo Dream Master.
Oh, that game rules.
And I don't know why. I just remember renting this, and I remember playing it as a kid, and just like this dream world. And I think there was a movie or something that was also.
It's based on like a cartoon, I think.
Yeah.
A
so
cartoon.
Basically, you're this little kid, and I think you're asleep, and it's a platformer, and there's all these little creatures, and I don't know exactly how this works out, but it's almost like a Super Mario Bros. 3.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can kind of inhibit the it's not like or are you riding them? I'm trying to remember.
No, you put on a suit that is like their
That's
skin,
what I thought.
like
I was like,
Mario.
you put on like a frog suit and you can jump super high, and then there's like other characters that you kind of just wear their skin, normal childhood dream type shit.
This also works because it was an arcade game as well. That was a game on the Neo Geo that's actually very good as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
I mean, that was my. I mean, I feel like I need to pick that. That's the one that I need to pick. But also, DuckTales 2 was a huge favorite of mine too.
So let's do this. Let's narrow it down to 3 that we picked.
Sure.
With Little Nemo, Darkwing Duck, and Strider. Nobody's ever heard of Little Nemo. Darkwing Duck's better on the TurboGrafx 16, so I think Strider wins.
Wow.
I've not played Strider yet, but I actually have it.
It is
coming in
not.
the mail.
First of all, Darkwing Duck is not better on the TurboGrafx 16. It sucks on the TurboGrafx 16. All right, so you shut your mouth.
Jeez.
I was
I
just
think
trying to
Little
end
Nemo
it quick.
would be a. I got you. I think Little Nemo is actually a great answer for like most underrated Capcom game because I don't think a lot of people have ever heard of that one, but it is very cool. But obviously, I was right. I nailed it right out the gate, and I'm the best.
I mean,
best guess,
Darkwing
first
Duck
guess.
is.
I do like that answer the best, to be honest with you. Darkwing Duck nails it. I think we can agree on
I think
Darkwing
it
Duck.
encapsulates the two biggest things. Of
The Disney license, I think, is huge for that time period of Capcom. And the fact that it has Mega Man roots, I think, is big, too.
My wife would argue the Adventures in the Magic Kingdom. She played that. I'm not even lying. She loved that game where you're just basically walking around Disney World.
Yeah.
Really?
It's like a
I
bunch
don't
of
think I've
mini
ever
games.
seen that game.
Yeah, it's dirt cheap.
It's
Get it for like less than $5.
That's a pickup. You got to pick that bad
For
boy
a
up.
reason, yeah. It's
It's
yeah,
weird.
There's not a
It's
whole
like
lot of
you-
game in it.
No, each ride is like a mini game almost. Like,
Yeah.
You go on the Haunted Mansion, it's like a platforming section. I can't say I've ever made it very far in that one. But
Yeah.
kudos to your wife if she's made it through more than one level in that game.
Yeah, no, that was one of her, like, she has a lot of nostalgia for that, for sure.
Okay. Jay, you want to show us some of your picks of the week?
Sure. Should I do it? You tell me, should I do it by, like, how long ago I picked stuff up to now, or should I do it by, like, kind of smaller things?
How will you work from the
Maybe
top of
build
the
up.
stack down?
All right. I'll leave the good stuff for last.
All right.
Is what I'll do.
Save the most exciting. I mean,
So,
this is the only reason I'm here. I want to.
a couple of these have stories, some of them don't. The most recent pickup, I got a package yesterday, actually, with these two things in them. It's an N64 memory card, new in its blister pack.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 64 controller, basically the picture was, and if I open it, I'll be able to show you. The picture was like the controller under the box, and it was just one picture. And I zoomed it as far as I could.
How good is that thumbstick?
You'll see. Basically, it was the picture of the controller in the bag, and I zoomed in, and I didn't see, you know, like on an N64 controller, you'd see the whitening on the inside of the stick if it was like really. I didn't see any. I was like, so at least it's in decent shape, and the price
Jay
was really good for
so
even
hard.
a relatively used controller. However, I get it in the mail, and this
What is
thing
going on there?
She's
It's
still
not focusing.
wrapped up.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Try to focus on my bald head.
There
So
we
it's
go.
like still brand
Is
new.
that
sealed.
new? Is that like brand new?
It's like brand new.
Oh man,
So
that's
it's
solid
like a brand
gold.
new controller. Yeah, it's completely pristine. It's
Let's
still got
destroy
the,
that thing with some Mario Party right now.
All
Yeah,
right.
this one's staying in the box. But I was pretty stoked about that.
I thought you were gonna pull out the Donkey Kong banana controller all of a sudden. Really?
Oh no,
boring.
I don't have. Isn't that a sleeve?
Is it? I don't even know.
It's not even like a full
I
controller.
had one
Anyway, so I
friend
was-
who collected N64 stuff, and that's where all my knowledge.
Yeah,
comes
you were just
from.
shit talking in 64, sir.
Exactly.
Deservedly so.
Good Lord. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this next little guy before. Another one that is an N64 game, but I picked up the Game Boy Color version of it.
Nice.
Conker's Pocket Tales. So I've never played it. I don't know much about it, and it's not super expensive, but I was like, it's Conker. I got to pick it up.
Is that
So-
Conker like being a bad attitude kind of Conker, or is that he like still like a cute boy?
It says in the back, it says it's Conker's birthday and somebody crashed his party.
The
Evil
fact that it's
Acorn-
rated E for everyone tells me it's not really in
Yeah,
the
it's
spirit of
probably
Conker.
not.
Okay.
Probably not the M for mature Conker that we all knew and fell in love with.
No, that is a game that I wish I had played as a kid. Because trying to play as an adult, I'm just like, this is the most immature.
Yeah, it does not hold up. That game does not hold up.
The burp and fart jokes and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
I would have thought it was hilarious when I was like
Oh,
10.
I'm sure.
But it's,
Yeah.
it's real struggle as an adult.
So this is a pretty. I had Mario Paint like a few months ago, but I just picked up the box. It's in really good shape except for this big old like hole on this. But I really like the boxes. So Mario Paint and Earthbound are the only 2 big box SNES games in the US, and now I have both of them. So I'm pretty stoked.
So that's an empty box. You just bought the box?
No. This actually has it in it too. Oh, okay. So the other.
Does it have the mouse?
Oh yeah, mouse and the trackpad and all that stuff.
It's like a plastic pad, right?
Yeah. Well, it's basically like it's like a cutting board.
I'm pretty sure I have just the pad. I don't
really
I don't even own the game, but I think I have the pad somewhere.
Yeah, it's like a thick plastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when I was a kid, I mostly played the Music Maker on this.
Yeah, the Music Maker rules. You can download. You
go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's like separate programs you can download that are like a more robust version of the music making software. Yeah, me and my bandmates in college used to just mess around and make songs in there.
That was Sibelius before that was a thing. For all you music nerds out there. But I mean, the original Mario Paint Music Maker, it was so weird because it would have like the music sounds, and some of them it would be like really bizarre. So it'd be like
I love weird when you're like in the middle of a song. Bizarre. It's like da 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 bark.
It was ridiculous. Anyways, so there's that. Quickly, I picked up the Game Gear adapter for the SG analog console, so I can play Game Gear games on the SG.
I got one of those too. It's that works pretty well.
Wow. And I got a whole stack of NES games from one seller. Well, actually, one of them's not. So actually, Watts just mentioned this game. I just picked it up recently. Little Mermaid, complete in box. Not a super expensive game. I think I picked this up for like $35, something like that. So I haven't played it before, and but Watts was saying that she liked it. So these are all the ones that I have now are from the same seller, and I'll go from like price. At least I'll try to price them out. A lot of you probably will remember Dodgeball.
That is one of my favorite games on the NES.
Yeah, it's a great game.
It gets a lot of hate. Like people give it like 5 out of 10s when they review it. I fucking love it, man. I used to play it. One of my best friends had it at his house, and it's one of those games that you can pick up. You don't have to get good to play it. Like the rules are apparent, the controls are easy to master, and it becomes just a war of attrition. But it's fun. There's a version of that for the Neo Geo too, but it kind of sucks. It's better on the NES.
All the NES games by that company that have like the same sprites for their characters, I love how the characters look. It's like the same in River City Ransom. Like they just have the big heads and the little bodies. I don't know. I love them.
Speaking of,
there you go.
This is one of the ones from the same seller. Yeah,
that game.
So River City Ransom,
awesome. I love River City Ransom so much.
It's so slow though.
It's slow, but it was great when I was a kid. It was one of those like the few like true co-op games me and my brother could play together.
Well, it's like the original Double Dragon games are terrible. They're so slow. It's just you can only punch.
I know. And I like that this one had like fun weapons, and you could like use the chain and the brass knuckles and throw them in.
They just made like a pseudo sequel to that River City Girls a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
right?
They did.
Really?
And I heard it's good. Yeah.
If you've ever played the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game that they just reissued, it plays just like that, same like level up system and everything. Yeah.
So did you play like Battletoads and stuff as a kid? I guess
I hate Battletoads, but I love Battletoads Double Dragon.
Really?
NES. Yeah, I think Battletoads 1 sucks. But when you mix, I hate I hate every Double Dragon game. I hate Battletoads by themselves. But when you combine them, I love it. Battletoads Double Dragon rules, and Battletoads on the NES sucks farts, and I hate it.
But like the mechanics of it are so good, though.
It sucks. I don't really like beat 'em ups that much to begin with, and I feel like that one's just too. That one is one of those ones that I would have to have save states to beat it. It's too much for me.
No, it was tough, but but I mean, like the fighting mechanics are really.
They are really like fun. I really do love the way that you like slam people and kick them off the levels and stuff. Yeah, but I just think Battletoads Double Dragon has all that, and it doesn't suck as much, and it looks cooler and way better. And that's
it's also Super Nintendo, so you have a lot more.
No, it's
bits to work
it's
with.
on NES. Battletoads.
Well, okay, they have one on NES, but it's like $100.
That's the only version I ever played as a kid, and the only version of it I've ever
Really?
played.
I haven't yet. Is it? I wonder how much different the NES version is than the SNES version.
I don't actually know. I should probably play it and see myself.
SNES version's way cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really good on NES if you can pick up a copy. It's pretty fun, and the graphics look really neat. Like, it almost looks like one that would do well with like a 3DS remake, but it's got like a weird kind of forced perspective feel that I think looks really good on it.
Like an isometric thing?
It's not isometric, but there's just something about the way that the floor is laid out on a lot of the levels where it just feels almost like you're rotating around.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's kind of weird to me to describe, but when I last played it, when I owned it before I sold it again, I just remember it feeling like it would do well with the 3DS remake.
Well, rip 3DS, but yeah, I hear you.
I'm still holding out, okay? They might make it. You don't know. They might.
No, they discontinued development for the 3DS recently.
Okay.
Like, formally.
I'll go cry about that after the podcast.
Well, I mean, like, considering the Switch is
I know.
kind of a handheld now, it's tough.
It doesn't make any sense to have both. As soon as they announced the Switch and they were like, "We're gonna keep supporting the 3DS line, don't worry." I was like, "You're just saying."
Yeah,
you said the same thing when you released the DS. You were like, "We're gonna keep making Game Boys, don't worry." Like, you're not gonna keep making them, you liars. You just want to have a way to backpedal in case you get another Virtual Boy situation.
I don't know. Next game, I've never played. Punisher.
I've never played that either.
I've never played it either. Yeah.
I mean, it almost looks like a Wild Gun type scenario where you're behind the character, like over the shoulder.
Oh, really?
That's cool.
Punisher has to be the most 90s ass comic book character, right?
Look at the dude's face. Like, he looks like he's constipated.
Yeah. You don't look
He's
happy.
really having a hard time.
It's only in like the 90s and in the 80s or whatever where they make the Punisher into like a kid's game, you know, like that's so funny to me.
They did that with everything. They did that with
murder.
RoboCop, Terminator, like all these rated R properties. They used to make it into kids games.
No, it's hilarious to me.
And this was before ESRB ratings too, so
Yeah.
there's literally nothing.
Aliens.
It's like, hey, little
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Wait,
Yeah.
is that an LJN game? What did that? Who made that?
Elgin, yeah, LJN.
LJN. Right,
So I bet it's quality.
Yeah, it's guaranteed. That's the little rainbow seal of garbage right there.
I mean, the back of the box, it looks like a comic book, kind of, sort of. It's kind of funny.
I mean, I'd play it. I'd give it a shot.
I'll check it out.
I bet you have more fun looking at the box than playing the game.
Well, it's cardboard, so we know he's gonna have more fun with that.
You guys ever heard of Kemco Psycha?
No.
Yeah, I've heard the name. Oh
North
yes,
and-
I love North and South.
okay.
Yes.
Really? I booted it up and I was like, how do you even get started in this game? It almost looks like a janky version of Risk.
It's like almost like an RTS style game, like Battlefield sim, and then it has weird side-scrolling levels as well when you're like going to capture enemy troops or whatever. It's weird, but it's a really unique game. It's based on like a French comic, like a newspaper comic. I just think it's one of the weirdest like histories for an NES game, so I just love it based on that alone. But that's an expensive one to get in the box, I feel like.
I mean, not as expensive as the next couple of games, but yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay.
I'm excited then.
Hey, you've had my attention.
So I got 3 more to show. 2 out of the 3 are Capcom. So we just talked about one of them, but for some reason the other one's not. So here's both the G.I. Joe games for NES.
Nice.
One of them's Capcom,
Classics.
the other one's not.
Yeah.
It's funny because the non-Capcom one's the more expensive one.
And
Yeah.
I think it's better as well.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
pretty
so,
sure
too.
the non-Capcom one plays
I think
better.
both of them, though, are pretty good, though. They're not, like,
Yeah.
terrible games, which
I
is
remember playing these as
surprising.
a kid. There's so many different characters you can play as.
Yeah.
You get to play as all the G.I. Joe kind of protagonists, and it was always really cool.
You can finally be the real American hero.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. Anyways,
What would his code name be if he was the real American hero? If he was a G.I. Joe MegaMagwitch, what would his code name be?
who, me?
Yeah.
Spoon Dome. I don't know.
Boom Dome?
Spoon Dome.
Doom Dome?
Spoon.
Oh, Spoon Dome. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Silver. Just give me like a silver plate on my head.
There you go. Exactly. Your head could be like bulletproof, and you run at people like, I think that's a great idea.
Aren't there dinosaurs that do that, basically?
I'm so glad I asked that question.
Damn it.
You are the Pachylocephalosaurus of people. Yeah, for sure.
Just happens to know the dinosaur, of course.
I am not positive, but my daughter has like a dinosaur book that has like 10 buttons she can push, and I think that's one of them. I think that's the one you're talking about.
So the last pickup within the last few weeks, and this is a doozy. This is the one that started this from this one seller. This next one is the one that started, because what I like to do is if I buy a good deal on a game, I'll like message a person and be like, hey, first of all, please ship in a box, please. You will never imagine how many box games I've gotten in naked bubble mailers with no protection.
No.
Oh god, I hate it so much. Yeah, it's also a Capcom game.
Oh, is
Snow
that still
Brothers.
sealed or what? Or you just have
It's
it
no.
in
It's complete in box. It's in pretty good shape though. But this was the one. Basically, I spent almost cart price for a complete copy of it.
How much
And yeah, I sent him a message. I was like, please, for the love that is everything, ship it in a box. And then also, are you planning to sell anything else? And they sent me a picture. They're like, do you have Facebook? And I'm like, this is weird, but sure.
For you,
because I've actually done this before. They sent me a bunch of pictures, and the ones that I ended up getting, he wanted like almost triple what I ended up pricing. Like he was going on eBay and looking up the highest sold value and telling me that's what he wants. I'm like, those boxes are super beat up, and also I can't pay that much. So I like gave him an offer. I was like, I understand if you don't want it. And he's like, can you, like, we haggled for a little while and then we agreed on a price, and I was very happy with where everything ended up. But yeah, he was like, yeah, I want, it's funny because the price that he put on this was not anything like the other ones, but for like $100 game, he's like, yeah, I want 300 for it. I'm like, yeah, no, I'll give you 60.
What is a Snow Bros cart run these days?
Like 250.
Okay, no, I'm just curious. Last time I owned one, I bought it for like 100, so I'm always curious how much
around
gone
2 to
up.
225 depending on condition. Yeah, so I think I got this complete in box for 300.
That's not bad at all.
No.
That's a good one to have. That's one of those Capcom ones that you're looking out for when you're trying to get the complete Capcom set, for sure.
And for anybody who's listening, I don't just like I buy and resell, and everything that I buy I haven't actually spent a cent on. Essentially, I have like a pool where, I have like money set aside from stuff that I've sold that I can use to reinvest into the collection. Like I'm not just like throwing down hundos on these games, like.
I mean, sure, he had to sell the kid's crib, but it was worth it.
All that Twitch money.
Babies slept on floors for millions of years.
You can't fall out of bed if you don't have a bed. So
that's right. Like that's a safety precaution.
Yeah.
I just always feel like I have to reassure people. I'm like, yeah, I understand these are expensive games, but yeah.
It is a hobby that you if you know what you're doing, you can. Yeah,
it takes time and 7 years worth of knowledge of knowing things and such. But anyways, so those are my pickups.
Beautiful pickups.
Quite a few.
In awe. I'm jealous.
Sorry.
No, it's great. When I bought Snow Bros, it was going for like 180. I got it for 100 because there was some Sharpie marker on it, but I was able to clean it off like absolutely no problem. And I think the back of the cart was worse, and I had like one I could swap it out for.
Yeah, you swap out.
Yeah. I'm a real stickler though. I try to swap out based like with the same manufacturer code or whatever on it, since different factories that made the carts had different little imprints on the labels that they would use. And
really,
you want to try to get the same like color backing, like so it's not like the different. Yeah, I mean Neapolitan cartridges are always weird to me.
Absolutely.
So is that going to wrap this one up? Episode 5?
In the books.
In the books. Mega, thank you so much for coming. I really had a great time. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was an absolute pleasure for me. I rarely get the opportunity to nerd out about retro stuff, so I loved it. I love you both. Thank you.
Where can people find you on the internet?
You can go to my Twitch channel when I am streaming at twitch.tv/MegaMagwitch. You can also, if you're into Destiny, which I assume a lot of people who stumble upon this probably are, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/HuskyRaid, where we might have some new content coming out for, the first time in a while. We're very off and on, but new stasis abilities has us intrigued to maybe make some of our token style of content. That's all
Nice.
I'll say.
Jay?
Is it?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at JSniperton. And also keep your eyes out on the RetroSlot podcast Twitter at the RetroSlot for a potential giveaway for one of those Game & Watch. So go follow Twitter for the show.
Nice. I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me doing podcasts right here on Twitch, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app, DCP, the Destiny Community Podcast. Obviously, this one, RetroSlot, and SideQuest, where we talk about newer stuff. Also, don't forget to check out Firing Range, our new show that really boils down the numbers of Destiny PvP. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. That was fun, guys. That was a fun show. I like the pickups, man. Like I think we should make it, like, if you got them, we should just make it like a regular part of the show, because I think it's fun.
I always feel bad, though. Like, I don't know. Part of me does.
Why?
It's like, look at all the cool things I got that you didn't.
I think it's fun. It's just like a way to discuss random games, though, that you
true.
happen to pick up.
Sure.
Don't forget to stop.
Do we like doing the pickup thing